Hi everyone. So as I just read a story about badgers, it made me think perhaps we need to find out a little bit more about badgers and what they're like. Shall we? Okay, let's have a look at this book, all about badgers. And it says, what are badgers? What do we know about them? Well, they're really easy to recognise. They're very large. And they've got a black and white striped face. They've got grey fur on their body and black fur on their legs. So the boy and girl badgers, the male and the female, they look alike, but they're slightly different because the boy badger is a bit bigger. So the boys are called boars and the females are called sows. Habitat is the place where the badgers live. Most badgers live in the woods, like the tree hoppers' woods. I'm not sure we've got any badgers there though. We've not seen any evidence of badgers. But they also can live on the sea, the cliffs, the moors, and sometimes in fields. They live almost everywhere in the UK. They live where there's food to eat and bushes and trees to hide. They like quiet places away from people. So that probably explains why we don't see them at tree hoppers near our camp, because we're probably a bit too noisy, aren't we? So what do they eat, I wonder? Do you know? Well, they're omnivores. So they eat parts of plants and small animals. So they eat plants and animals. And they really like worms. Earthworms are their favourite food. And do you know how many they can eat in just one night? 200. That is a lot of worms, isn't it? So they like to eat worms. He says yummy yum. And voles, like the little animals we found in our mammal traps. Birds, eggs. They like to eat eggs. Insects, grass and roots. They're not very fussy, are they? They eat lots of different things. They like nuts, seeds and berries that fall to the ground from the trees. So when do we see them? When do they come out? Well, they are nocturnal, which means they come out at night time when we go to bed. So they move around and they hunt food during the night. They can't really see very well. Not got very good eyesight. They find food in the dark using their sense of smell, so they sniff it out. They also have really good hearing. They can hear small animals scuttling about. On the move. So they walk on all four legs and they usually scuffle along with their heads down, and they often stop to listen for danger or sounds from animals, because sounds can mean that food is near. They usually travel the same way each time they go out, and they make little paths through the grass. They can run quite quickly if they're frightened. So during the day, badgers rest. That's their house. It's called a sett. And they dig them out with the claws. They've got very sharp claws. And a badger sett can have several different holes, so several different ways in. And they like to mark the area around their house by scratching at the tree trunks. And this tells other badgers to keep away. So they dig out long tunnels inside their sett, and that leads to lots of rooms under the ground. Some areas are for sleeping in, so they're bedrooms, and then others, I guess, like our living room. They're very clean animals, and they often take out old bedding material like bits of hay and grass, and they change it. And they dig holes away that they use as their toilets, because they don't want their toilet right near where they're living, do they? Because that would be a bit stinky. So some badgers like to live alone, but others live together in groups. And a badger group is called a clan. Oh look, so that's what they look like when they're babies. They're very cute, aren't they? They're very small. And the mummy badger, she usually has 2 or maybe 3 cubs. and they don't come out of the set for about 8 weeks. And then they start to go out with their mum. But until they can catch their own food, the mummy badgers chew up the worms and then pass them into a cub's mouth. Ugh. So that's like your mum or dad chewing up their food and then giving it to you. Cubs spend a lot of time chasing and playing, and this helps them get really strong and quick. And after about a year, they move out. That's a nice picture, isn't it? Badgers make different sounds to tell each other things, so they can squeal if they're scared, or they can growl to scare other badgers away. Badgers from the same clan, so the same family, they like to lick each other, a bit like cats. They lick each other to keep clean. And they do that to each other. They groom each other. What are the dangers for badgers, I wonder? Well, many badgers, the cubs, die in very cold winters. Foxes can catch and eat some cubs. But adult badgers, they're too big really for most hunting animals to catch. So it's when they're little that they're most at risk of getting eaten by some other animal. They can live for up to 14 years. Oh, often they get run over by cars, which is very sad, and sometimes that's the only time we ever see the badgers because they're on the side of the road. And sometimes when people are building new houses, they might destroy badger sets then. So when do they usually get born? Well, about now really, in the springtime. That's when they start coming out, and they need to feed and grow a lot to store fat for the winter ahead. Because in the winter, obviously it's very cold and there's less food about, and the badgers can sleep for several days at a time. Imagine that, being asleep for days. They live on the fat that they stored up earlier, and they go out every few days. What other animals do you think live in the woods? Can you think of any? We've got the badger. Maybe a fox. He likes to live in the woods, doesn't he? And we've got a couple more here. Otter and a stoat. Have you ever seen any of those? What else? Can you think of any other animals? Sometimes we see deer, don't we, on the field? Well, I hope you've liked finding out a little bit more about badgers. See you again next time. Bye from Badger.